Okay, I'm gonna wing another one. Um, Today on Talking Head, the subject is political Armageddon. People's politics has led to an Armageddon. Kind of like the wheat, separating the wheat from the chaff between, who's what. Today I go to this website called The Donald. It started on Reddit, and I never really liked Reddit. I mean, I thought it was set up well. Like the comments and how it looks and the interface and everything. This has always been pretty good, but it was always really left leaning, and obviously, biased and all that, like everything coming out of Silicon Valley. I guess it was 2010 or whatever, 2011, I discovered it and started doing news. And I eventually just quit using Reddit because there was nothing really that interested me on it. So then the Donald came along on the Reddit. And I can't remember how I came across it, but I came across it, and I after examining it a little bit, I realized what was happening. That, Reddit being a left-leaning site, politically, had an administrator take over. Like, I remember this story about there was a guy that invented or created Reddit, and like he either got screwed over or died. And then they ran it for a while, and then this woman, this Asian, I don't know if she's Asian American, Ellen Pao had it, and everybody just absolutely couldn't stand her, and she got fired, and then this guy took over, who they call Spez. Spez looks like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old college guy, nerd type, So, when the Donald came along on the Reddit, it was, it wasn't liked because, leftists always just immediately try to insult and humiliate and destroy anything that they feel threatens their bullshit narrative. So this war started with this one subreddit, the Donald, that gained a lot of steam and momentum because it had quality stuff on it. It was like, okay, wow, something on Reddit where it's fresh, it's new, it's hot. Somebody's making fun of Clinton. Somebody's like, there's a conservative viewpoint. You get back and forth sometimes, but then it got nasty. And what I want to say is political Armageddon with the internet. When the internet, I was really young when it first came out, but like Windows 95 and stuff, you started getting chat rooms, and things weren't fully fleshed out, and it wasn't a household term for somebody to be like a troll or a lurker or whatever it was. Those terms kind of evolved. In the beginning it was like something brand new, and what are we working with here, and this person seems to be a jerk all the time, like, are you doing it on purpose, are you not? So we identified all that and gave them terms, and that was 30 years ago, it seems like, 20 years ago. 25, whatever. But there was what do you call it? A memory lapse, where people who were like Spez's age, I mean, I'm only guessing his age, early 20s, didn't get that experience of, in the beginning of the internet, not knowing it and understanding it, so they didn't really understand the definitions of these things, I don't think. Because you could tell that the whole administrators, the top people at Reddit, were attacking the Donald subreddit for political reasons, purposes only, and trying to shut it down, and they put it in quarantine for the longest, and squeezing this subreddit. But I guess the thing, I don't know if they ever realized, that everybody knows, like, people know that, like, oh my god, like, it's gotten to the point where the head administrator of Reddit is just a troll. He's just like a mean-spirited like troll. Okay, so like kind of redefining the terms because it didn't used to be that way. It was like, oh, the administrator was the guy who booted the troll. But okay, so now we have this huge site, and the administrators in Reddit essentially like put the squeeze on this little subreddit, the Donald, because they hate it so much, and force the moderators there to create a new site, the Donald.win, which I switched to when I saw, because I still like to go laugh at, political humor that I think is funny. The Donald. So I went to the Donald.win, and suffering, like I noticed there were comments and stuff that were structured from leftists to like sow doubt and discord and say things like, yeah, but nothing's ever going to happen to the Clintons and we're all just a bunch of peons, which is obvious, subversion. But that ended. Like the mods are like, well, we're not on Reddit, we're on whatever .win is, and we can just boot everybody and ban people. So it was good. A couple of months, I guess, it's been going on. It's been good. It's pretty clean. There's less restrictions on like cuss words, or maybe a little more freedom of speech going on there. But DDoS attacks, and you know that it's coming from Reddit or other places. But mainly Reddit is probably pissed that this subreddit did leave. And it does. It's you can see why somebody like whoever Spaz is a troll. Because it's like, okay, we're just going to land-based you with like unfair quarantines, double standards. We're going to go into your user's post history and your mod's post history and change the words to try to like get a win and really cheap. And giving everybody, all the user base and moderators of the Donald, every incentive to leave and go somewhere else, and probably even saying that. So then they do. And in the adult world, in the non-troll world, well, that's it. Back in the day on the internet, it was like, okay, the main user base of this website, let's say Reddit, had the Donald come in. Let's say the majority of people didn't like it, and they got those users to leave and go somewhere else. Yay, win! That's a win. They're gone. We can enjoy our space again. Instead of saying, no, we're going to follow those people to wherever they go. And we're going to do the same subversive attacks and like try to, DDoS bomb the website and take it down so that it doesn't work and people can't enjoy it. Well, who's the troll? Obviously, the people on Reddit, right? But people see that. It was like these aren't the days where, what do we call somebody who does that? Like, is this like a natural or unnatural phenomenon, this massive level of trolling, I guess we're going to call it. Like, no, everybody knows how to identify it but them. And you look, it's the administrators, these kids are like really entitled, enriched, arrogant, and you can definitely see how the psychology in their minds of having power on the internet and being young and like, arrogant right all the time. If you know the type I'm talking about, they won't be able to see that that everybody's either already decided to like hate them because they do that stuff, or they're gonna choose to hate them. They're eventually gonna be, then harmony will occur in the universe and balance. So that's what I think. But that was a wild ride. So political Armageddon there. Obviously, if you're going to take your career as the administrator of one of the biggest websites in the world, and take like your product that you have that was based on, freedom of speech and open dialogue and discussion, and go that way with it, I don't know. I mean, Armageddon. Political, professional, personal life Armageddon, I think, has kind of come upon the leftists. Another thing, since I'm going to take up all your day, I had never heard of this place on Reddit called Chapo Trap House. But Chapo Trap House, when I heard about it, I'm like, do you mean like El Chapo Guzman? Like the guy from Mexico who runs that huge cartel? Okay, well, I'm going to look into it, okay? And I'm thinking trap house, obvious, drug house, crack house, somewhere you go in and you're not supposed to come out of whole. Supposed to come out of it broke and and addicted and miserable. So I better go there and inspect it. Now, I've known some drug dealers in my day. I've known some dangerous folks. And they were never the type to really, I mean, some of them were smart, but politics wasn't a big deal with it. You know, with people who I've known who like sell guns, sell illegal firearms, and sell drugs, and have a house somewhere, I mean, and do that, and you can go get like drugs and a rifle or some shit. They're more about not exposing themselves. Not really, they don't get political from what I've seen. Like I said, they might have personal political views, but that's never on the table. It's always like how to keep a low profile, how to make the most money, how to protect your operation, all that. So when I went to this Chapo Trap House subreddit, I see like this hugely politicized kind of thing, where it's I've drawn the conclusion that while there might be some like cartel connected like drug house or operation runners, and I think these are just Bernie bro kids in El Chapo Trap House, just LARPing. Like I said, the politics and the running of the trap house just didn't make any sense to me. But it makes sense to me when I look at like the Bernie bros who kind of live, that whole young kind of college like derelict thing that got really, really cool. I definitely see the propensity to identify themselves as like, a capo in Chapo's outfit, which is insane, but So there's that, political Armageddon. Democrats in general, I don't know, I was right about Bernie. I saw that coming. I waited to make that Bernie video about, oh, here we go. The Democrat establishment is going to screw Bernie again, and they did. They're doing it. All the delegates or whoever, or candidates dropped out and endorsed Biden. I'm really wondering, kind of politically, because I'm tired of that leftist, arrogant, kind of like Reddit thing, and really bad destructive policies from like Joe Biden, and like Bernie bros LARPing is like dangerous cartel members, because one thing is not like the other with them. So I'm wondering, the whole thing looks like it's coming down for the Democrat Party, the establishment, the ideology, and everything. It's like, wow, political Armageddon. When it's getting to the point where I can sit back and do political analysis and call what's going to happen, call it out, like, Bernie's going to get screwed again. I don't know, I'm wondering where you go from here. Because Joe Biden's not going to be able to do very well. He's not doing well at all. He seems to be like the only choice. But what happens with the Democrat Party? Well, you've got to get the people, the arrogant, entitled people at the top of that party who've just absorbed everyone else's money and stuff out, because they're never going to change. The people like the guy at Reddit, or who've had authority and get to abuse power and all that, they're never going to leave. It doesn't matter what you are. Any kind of principle or moral center that was supposed to be there really isn't there. So you got to get them out. You got to restructure the party. I kind of see Democrats seeing like the whole world's falling apart. It's like, no, you just need to like restructure your party. You might even want to make a different party, so you're not connected to any of those old Democrat institutions or ideas that didn't work, right? You're going to have to. I guess before I leave political analysis, really quickly, with presidential terms, you've had a president has a 4-year term, and he might get a second term, but then he can't have a third. He can't have it 3 times. He has to wait, and then he can run again, right? So the evolution of like the administrations went from 8 years, from 4 years. Well, everybody's going to get 8 years, though. Everybody's going to get 8 years because that's technically kind of de facto full term is 8 years. Well, it's only going to go further because you're only going to need more time now. So it's like and it went Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, 8 years, 8 years Democrat, 8 years Republican, and it switched like that. And I knew that if there was ever a point where it went like, okay, an 8-year Democrat run, like in 2016 under Obama, and then if Clinton were to win and get an extra 4 years, that would be a landslide, a watershed moment of change in the political landscape of the country. I knew that the Democrats really wanted that in 2016 because their thing is built on corruption, and they set it all up in that 8 years, and they wanted that 12th, that next administration to really just hammer home the crime and all that and steal everything. But either way it goes, it's looking now like if Trump gets a second term, if there's enough success and everything, and people really are convinced, like, hey, this is way better than liberal shit, and the Republicans are able to get, like, in 2024 to 2020 or 2024 term, that third straight Republican presidential administration, I mean, it's going to happen eventually. Not with Trump running a third time, but another candidate coming along. And it's funny when you look at it, the Democrats have always wanted that kind of more power to change everything, to change the laws. To like, okay, more gun rights, like more restriction, more abortion. But I guess since we're kind of past the rhino part of the Republican Party, like I look at that, I look at that third, Republican conservative presidential term as, okay, we need that because we need to undo all of this decades-long, Democrat policy making to get it back. Like it's not like I'm going to create a new law. I'm going to take all the new laws that the Democrats have created for generations that suck and are stupid and only benefit a few of them and undo those, right? So it's kind of funny, the difference in philosophy there. But I'm done. I could go on, but I'm not gonna.